In June of 2012, Tierra Madre Fund taught a class to Native American middle school students that combined technology education and cultural education. On the cultural side, students learned about ethnobotany and Lushootseed, which is a Pacific Northwest native language. On the technology side, they learned about speech recognition and structured data. During the class, students built 3 apps that taught them about structured data. They would create sound files, and then often they would learn about speech recognition as they made these apps. For this first app, we had a guest storyteller come in. His name was Johnny Moses. He's a very famous native storyteller. And he told stories that had words in it that were in the Lushootseed language. So here the students would learn some of the words from his stories, and then they would create sound files saying those words, and they created some JSON, which is JavaScript Object Notation, that told the app which pictures to use and which sound files to play. So when it all came together, it worked like this.
Clock, clock.
That's the word for ant.
Sketchwood.
That's the word for bear.
Kaya.
That's grandmother.
Safa.
That's grandfather. And here's the JSON file that the student created. And you can see that it's got places for image files and places for sound files. That's the WAV files. For this second app, the students went on a field trip to a garden at Daybreak Star, which is an Indian education center. And there's a garden that's got native plants, and an ethnobotanist talked to them about the various native plants. And then the storyteller, Johnny Moses, was there, and he taught them the Lushootseed names for these plants. So then they created an app, and again they recorded sound files with the Lushootseed names. But this one uses speech recognition, so you can then test. So here's an example app that one of the students built. They have 4 plants here. In English, they're known as cedar, devil's club, huckleberry, and mock orange. So let's hear what they sound like in Lushootseed. Here's cedar.
Hapayats.
Here is devil's club.
Slaha.
Here is huckleberry.
Sib.
That's a hard one. And here is mock orange.
Sulakta.
Okay, let's try these out. I'm going to click on quiz, and I know these fairly well by now. That's slaha. I got it right. Hapayats. Sweep. Oh, I didn't like my pronunciation. Sulakta. I got 3 out of 4. That's pretty good. By the way, this is the JSON for that game, and you can see that the complexity of it has increased significantly from the first app. Now we're using an English language speech recognizer because obviously there's no Lushootseed speech recognizer. And so it does okay with words it doesn't recognize, but it does much better with English language words. And the third app we did is an English language word, just teaching about ethnobotany, essentially how native plants to the Northwest have been traditionally gathered and used. So again, they learned the knowledge that they gathered from the ethnobotanist when they did their field trip. And this is an example of JSON that they created. They worked in groups, and they were given a specification on how to create this JSON. So you can see it's quite complicated, and they actually had some trouble getting it going. There are various groups, but in the end they all did, and let me show you what that app looks like. Mock orange use.
Mock orange makes a good lather, and it is also good to make arrows.
Mock orange gather.
If you cut down or burn it, it will make it grow tall, so you could harvest it.
Devil's club use.
Devil's club is often used for medicinal use.
Devil's club gather.
You break off the spines and harvest the bark. It can be harvested at any time you find it.
So the students created some amazing apps, and they learned about structured data, and they learned about speech recognition. And then on the cultural side, they learned about all kinds of things. So ethnobotany and the Lushootseed language and native science and native games like lacrosse. This project was a partnership between Tierra Madre Fund and SDK Bridge, and it was funded by Washington STEM. Thank you very much for watching.